Ready?
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome to Punchie TV.
Welcome to Punchie TV with your hosts.
Welcome to Punchie TV. I am Punchie with your host, Punchie, from JesseLeePeterson.com show. Oh, Joel Friday, the host of the... What am I saying about you? The American Anchor Baby. The host of the American Anchor Baby show. James Hake, a host of the Hake Report. Welcome to Punchie TV. Punchie.
So Amber Rose did a speech at the RNC, Republican National Convention.
Amazing speech.
And many people thought it was a nice speech.
It was amazing.
All except one person, which was Matt Walsh. So we do have a picture of Matt Walsh, and Matt Walsh is a Christian conservative podcast host for the Daily Wire.
Oh, that's Matt.
That's Matt Walsh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him on my show before.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And he's done documentaries and short series for Daily Water, like What is a Woman was
Not
documentary.
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire. Daily Wire. Like What is a Woman? And he also has the Daily Wire also has these new courtroom series, reality series that they're doing right now.
Right on.
And he's a part of that.
Yeah.
But
He has a question.
He's racist.
He also has a documentary coming out called "Am I Racist?" A new movie.
No.
there's another one.
Right, he's
So-
a smart guy.
Yeah, he's all over the place. But he went to Twitter and expressed his doubts about the former adult dancer Amber Rose. Amber Rose used to be a stripper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he had his doubts about her speaking at the RNC. And he made some pretty critical comments about it. This is his tweet, what he said. And Nick, if you could read it for us.
Says the RNC gives a primetime speaking slot to a pro-abortion feminist and self-proclaimed slut with a face tattoo, whose only claim to fame is having sex with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized by this person.
So
it was after because we saw the screenshot from her appearance on.
Okay, so this is after.
So how do you know he didn't show the picture after? I mean, make the statement first and then show the picture after the speech.
No, because it's together. He put the picture with the
tweet
tweet
really
together.
Edit tweets that long afterwards. I
Oh,
don't think.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was after she gave
Yeah,
her
so
talk.
he even heard the speech. Well, we don't know if he actually heard it,
Right.
but this was after the speech. So we're
Oh,
assuming
okay.
he heard it and yet still had these comments to say about it.
Okay.
Well, Amber Rose went on Candace Owens' show, which is she's a former Daily Wire host. She's not with the Daily Wire anymore.
Who?
Candace Owens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She has her own show, and Amber went on her show and gave her comments and expressed how she felt about the tweet after Candace asked her
Oh, she responded what he had to say about
what
her.
he had to say about it, because Candace asked Amber, what was the negative comments you got for the speech? And this is where she talked about it. So this is the first clip.
Was there any comments that, before we get into like your background and how you ended up there, that impacted you or that you felt upset about that came at you, or were you just like, I'm good?
Well, I'll be honest with you, the Matt Walsh stuff, it didn't really bother me, but it did, religious people like that is why I went on my atheist journey. And so I was a Christian my whole life. I used to go to church. My mom still goes to church 7 days a week. You know, I used to go to church with my mom all the time. But I used to run into people like him often. And so for me, it made me just get turned off by the church, and then in turn, kind of go on a spiritual journey. I was looking into Buddhism. I was looking into Islam, which was extremely far-fetched for me. And then I landed on atheism because I just never felt comfortable.
I'll tell you what, when I saw that tweet from Matt Walsh, I thought it was a bit ugly. I thought that he's taking it too seriously and he's been too one-sided towards her and towards the thing. But towards the notion of her speaking at the Republican National Convention. I, too, rolled my eyes a little bit when I heard that she was going to speak. But then when I actually saw her speak, and I already kind of knew, oh, big wow, the Republicans are eager to show a diverse person.
Yeah.
So I already kind of knew that. And then her speaking, it was a nice statement that she made. She said, it's all love, and these are my people, because it doesn't matter what you're into and all that. And her dad said, no, he's not racist, Amber. What are you talking about? And so she started looking into it. And so it was a nice statement. So his comments are all like taking the worst parts of her past, and maybe her present too. I don't know what she's into now. And not being fair about it. So it was a turnoff. It was like overly judgmental, my take.
Amazing. What did you think about it, Joe?
I mean, I thought the similar thing. I think his tweet was very nasty to me. I felt like it was, it felt judgmental. It felt like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was just weird. I think that it was negative, and he went there and gave a negative response. I don't know if he saw the actual thing or he was just making a judgment. Because, sometimes people see that certain people are going to speak.
Right.
And they're already turned off, so they refuse to watch it.
Right.
So there's a chance he didn't even watch it, and he just made a judgment based off of what he was already feeling.
So you think he made the judgment without even watching it?
I'm not
If he
sure.
made the judgment afterward.
I'm not sure, but I think that if he would have watched it, then you would think that he would have a different opinion about it. And maybe, I don't know, would have been like, oh, it wasn't so bad. Because for him to say that, this makes it seem as if he just didn't watch it at all, but I don't know.
What did you think about it when she spoke?
I thought it was a nice speech. And I thought it was genuine, coming for her. I didn't know, I thought that she was going to be totally canned, meaning like she was going to have this prepared thing where it was going to sound like a robotic and like all the right words just to be a spokesperson for Black culture.
Amazing.
That's what I thought it was going to be, but It was genuine. She talked about her father, like James said. So I thought it was nice. And then to see him do this tweet, it just was off-putting. But I do agree with her in the sense that people like that is the reason why she felt, or even comments like that. This may not even be a reflection of who he is, but comments like that are why Christians like her fall away.
Yeah.
Part of it is because she wasn't really a Christian, right? She didn't really have the right belief.
She was searching, I think she said.
She was searching, right?
Yeah.
But those type of comments make you not want to be a Christian. It makes you think that Christianity is like that. You're going to be surrounded by those type of people. So I can understand why she pushed away from that, because she said she's recognized that growing up from other Christians who are judgmental in that way. So
I see.
The thing about Matt Walsh's comment is that you got to understand it's got a purpose. He's this political pundit guy, and his true aim in this tweet is the RNC and the GOP. He's saying a commentary on the false values or fallen morality of the Republicans, right? That's what he's getting at here.
Oh.
If you ask me, you know what I mean, guys? Am I making sense?
No, that's a good point.
It's like
Yeah.
a purposeful
Yeah.
tweet. It's
No.
it can sound. I mean, I'm sure it is personal. It's where he took it, but you
Oh, you
understand,
think it's personal?
huh?
You thought it was personal with Matt?
Well, because what's being talked about is it's nasty. He's
I see.
talking about her dirty business, and sure, it's true. It's a blunt and nasty way of putting something that she's put out publicly, and a kind of a nastier. You put a nastier edge to it, especially on the having sex with rappers thing. But like I said, it's like the target is the RNC, the target is the Republicans. I'll say this though, when I saw it, I got this impression of, I see what he's trying to get at, like he doesn't like the morality or whatever. But coming from Matt Walsh in that moment, the way I took it was too little, too late, kind of desperate. Oh, look at the Republicans! Look at how immoral they are. It's like, you didn't know this, man. And now he's like putting all this pizzazz on it. You know what I mean? Like a little, too late is how I took it.
This is my first time hearing about this. after we were doing the show
Yeah.
here. Number one, I didn't even know that Amber was going to speak at the thing
Oh, nice.
until I happened to see her doing it on the night of doing it.
Nice.
I had no idea. I had not heard in the media. Matter of fact, I had not heard anything about her in a long time. And when I saw her speaking, that I heard her talk about her father and the impact that had on her life, she seemed like a changed person. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. She like, her father's having an impact on her life. And that's what needs to happen with all people. The father needs to impact. So I love the speech. I really appreciate the fact that it had an impact on her with her father and how he had influenced her to watch for Donald Trump and pay attention for herself. So I liked the speech, and I liked what seemed like a change in her. I enjoyed it. And to hear this from Matt, I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but I didn't know Matt had said that.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Well, like, okay, so you just shocked that he would say something like that, or
I'm
just
neither shocked or not shocked, or shocked.
what are you?
That's a good question. Because I counsel with people around the world, y'all don't know the half a clue of what I've had to counsel with and what I've learned from it. And it's because of, not because of religion, but people have been traumatized by anger and all that. But the religions have failed people. And Amber says she got out of Christianity or religion because it's so judgmental.
Yeah.
And religious people are very judgmental. There's something that's more. If I was judgmental, I couldn't counsel with nobody. I understand now why Christ was able to go amongst the people, because he had no judgment of the people. Excuse me. Because he knew what was driving the people, that it wasn't them, but it was something else made a home in them. So he had no judgment of it.
So you're saying that she's turned off by people who have this strong stance of religion, and in this moment, and this has nothing to do with him as a person, because I don't know nothing about him, but his comments are a reflection of that.
Religion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it turned
And
her
that's
off.
why she went atheist, she said.
Yeah.
But even being an atheist, you're still judgmental.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
It's just your religion.
Right, you just changed to a fighter, the
Exactly.
religion called atheist.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's still
true.
very religious, and it's still judgmental.
Yeah.
Because now you're judging the Christians
Yep.
and the Jews and the non-Christians. So it's still judgmental. You just have a new religion called atheist.
The Bible says.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The Bible says knowledge puffs up, but
Yeah.
love builds up.
Yeah.
And even in the Bible, the Christians were judging one another
Yeah.
over different things, different disagreements that they had, and they were puffing up with that knowledge and pridefully just judging and looking down on each other
Yeah.
and themselves. Really, I think.
It is. I used to hear the drag queens and other people say, well, the Christians are so judgmental. So I don't want to be a Christian, right?
Yeah.
But they were being judgmental too of the
About it,
Christians.
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
were right about the Christian judge
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
that's why can't nobody help nobody.
I know.
Everybody's so judgmental. Not
I
realizing
agree.
that all who come through the woman come through a sin.
Yeah.
They sin, meaning their hearts
Yeah.
are wicked. And so they don't, for some reason, they don't get that. And I understand why.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I agree that the religion part of God, which is not even attached to God, people made
At
that
all.
up. But the religion itself, it gets you like in this weird mindset, and I've done it too, to where it's like this. It's like an identity. Like you talk about identity, it's like it makes you try to identify with doing the right thing, even if you don't really have it, but you pretend like you're doing the right thing, and you try to do the right thing every day, but it's all just in the mind, but not really of the heart.
There's one passage in the Bible that says true religion that God our Father accepts is to look after orphans and widows in their distress.
Yeah.
And to keep yourself from being polluted by the world.
Yes.
And that's what they pretend like they're doing, but really we're
Not at all.
not.
Not
We're
at
a
all.
mess.
What do you think about that, Nick?
You know what's fascinating about that is that I'm looking at Matt Walsh's comment and his purpose of it being a political statement and him trying to do what he's doing there. And in that, almost trying to separate what he's doing as if there's a way to operate in the political world and a way to operate in the spiritual world. There really is only one answer. There really is only one. You know what I mean? There's only one. And the true religion you guys are talking about, to not judge, is the only thing that might have the chance to, and it probably won't to the vast majority, but once you know that, why would you want anything else?
Here is a before and after clip of a previous Amber embracing the slut walk, and to a present Amber explaining what she's learned from the whole thing.
Nice.
Everything.
Slut walk. You came up with this term, slut. What was the purpose of using that word?
Basically, it's really what people think about you. It's not really actually what they know, right? So I could, I went through a divorce, and then I started dating after that. And it's like, well, if going out on a date with a guy makes me a slut, then that's just what I'm going to be.
I don't think going out on a date makes you a slut, but having sex with different men makes you a slut.
Well, what does it make you if you have sex with different women?
A slut maker.
A slut maker. I get it. I understand. This is why I'm doing this interview. I understand why he's like, she just rappers, or she just does this. And even my slut walk, I was really, really proud of it. I hate what it turned into. I hated the name slut walk. I hate it when girls, which sounds very hypocritical, had to leave the slut walk dressed like that. Which was the whole point, like, don't touch me because I'm dressed like this, still respect me because I'm dressed like a slut. But then when they would leave, I'd be like, this is my responsibility. I brought them here, but now I don't want them to go get hurt. But that was the whole damn point of the slut walk, where I'm not making a change. I'm not making any change for any women right now, because I really want them to go put on a blanket and walk home and go be safe and cover up.
This is the thing about women too. Can't put too much either way. They're just like kids. You can't get mad. Can't get take it too seriously. Like, she made such a big statement, or get too mad. Like, they really are just running around. She thought she was doing something good for the women. You know what I mean? She wasn't even saying, go really have sex with. No, she was saying, you can't rape us, which is like not even happening, but that's what she was told. You hear the feminists say this. She repeated it, and you realize these are just kids. You know what I mean?
That's a male that in her mind she was trying to do something. Huh?
Speaking to the mic.
Oh, that was something else that in her mind she was trying to do something else.
Yeah.
She thought she was helping the women. And I remember when we would go out there and take pictures and interview, some of the women like so proud to be a slut.
Yeah.
They didn't know Amber was trying to help them not to be a slut.
Yeah.
She even hated the title of slut. I never imagined that was her mind intention.
This is how these women get fooled. This happens literally all the time.
Yeah.
This literally happens in politics, in media, in advertising, like all the time.
We're talking about with Matt Walsh, in his mind, he thought he was doing well, right?
He thought he was doing the right thing.
And that's what she thought she was doing with the slut walk, because she's thinking that, like, we get to dress what we want. Regardless if we disagree with what it is, she felt noble in her thing, and that's why she did it. But meanwhile, she can't control everybody else's minds and mindsets. So they go out and they do a whole different thing.
That was some rough sluts out there, too.
And she has to...
We ran into some sluts.
Mostly naked, too, covering up this crazy stuff. But she feels she has to represent that, too. So that's what she's explaining. And she's like, in the reality, I wanted them to cover up with a blanket and go home because...
I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
Funny, because I was thinking that, and then Nick is like, these women are just a bunch of children, including like Amber Rose, because she's thinking like a child.
Right.
But that it reminds me of how pastors and Christians and the early church writers were. They're like, they tell you something, you're free. And then some of them take that as a freedom to continue doing their mess.
Right. Yeah.
And people, like, the devil twists the message. Even if Amber Rose meant it in a good way, they're gonna take it into
Did
something
they
that
ever
you
tell
can't
the
even control.
slut, go out there, just be a slut? You a woman, be a slut, do your
Yeah.
thing. Men can do it too. You
Yeah.
go and be a slut. Which he meant, hey, don't be a slut.
Right.
And
It sound
mind
like-
you, when Amber came outside, she wasn't dressing as crazy as some of the girls who were there.
Wow.
She had like she was still showing a little bit. You seen the pictures there,
Yeah.
but she's showing a little bit, but she's covered up. The girls at the slut walk.
Gave all their clothes to her.
It's
What the?
like, imagine if you were freaking out over all the people who misapply the stuff that they learn from
Yeah.
stuff that you say.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be going crazy like her.
I know, it'd be insane. I'll be like, I would have gone home
Yeah.
and cried.
But it is not surprising. I will say that it is not, from watching this, first by seeing her endorse Trump, and then by watching the speech, and then hearing her say that, it's not surprising that there is a shift happening. I do agree with what Nick is also saying, that like sometimes the mind goes to extremes,
Yeah.
like and be this and that. But I do think genuinely within her, she wants to be better.
They're looking for a father's love.
Yeah,
No wonder her father was able to help her.
yeah,
It sounded like she kind of always wanted what's right,
yeah,
but just didn't know. Because she
Yeah.
said she was looking to the Buddhists.
yeah.
She looked to the Christians. She looked over here,
Yeah.
over there, except for the Allahu Akbar things. You know
Yeah.
better not to go down that road.
Yeah. She even said it too. Yeah.
Funny.
And so it sounds like she's just been searching,
Yeah.
you know,
Trying to
looking
figure
for
it
the answer. And maybe she thought slut was the answer.
Yeah, she went to the feminists too,
Yeah.
just like the Buddhists.
Right.
Well, even in this last clip here, this explains even further what we're saying. Here's where Amber explains how she fell into the exotic
I gotta
lifestyle.
re-interview her again.
I know,
But
it's-
this is deep.
I don't know, like two.
But anyway.
Host a debate, Herb versus Matt Walsh.
What?
You should host a debate.
No, that would bring
Amber Rose versus Matt
that
Walsh.
might bring some nastiness out of her. We don't let her put that away. Here's where Amber explains how she fell into her exotic lifestyle and identifying with the negative stereotypes associated with her.
Listen, when it comes to sex workers, I'm still for sex workers. And when I say that, I mean that I understand it's not easy to just say, stop. Don't do this anymore. You're better than this, right? We can all say that all day, but there has to be a solution for why they should stop, you know, or maybe the money that they did make through sex work or the umbrella of sex work, like stripping and stuff, which is not actually sex, and create businesses for themselves or something like that, you know? So I have empathy for women like that because I was that girl. My dreams and aspirations in life were not to be a dancer. But I grew up poor and my mom had mental health issues and, you know, we were homeless when I was really young and my neighborhood was drug dealers and strippers, you know? So that was my lifelong dream. And then when I became famous, everyone just pointed the finger at me and was like, you used to be a stripper. We remember you, you know? And then that made like the whole internet and stuff. And then I had to just live with that. And over time, I embraced it with my slut walk because it was the only way to survive. I was like in survival mode because initially I'm like, hey guys, I grew up poor and they're like, shut up. You were a stripper, shut up, you know? So I'm like, okay, well, no one cares why. So what else is there left for me to do? I have to just own it. We all have to act like we love it.
That's deep.
That was my favorite clip
That's deep.
of the whole
I'm done.
thing. That was my favorite clip.
Church is over. That's so deep.
Why?
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, Nick and I are confused.
What do you think?
What the hell was deep about that? See, this is just proof that just because a woman says something nice doesn't mean you let her lead now. You don't let her
Oh,
lead
come on,
the.
Amber Rose 2028.
Hey, she says something nice. We could point out how the Christians are judging her all day. We could point out all that, and it's an amazing thing. But what does she say? She's basically just saying, "But I had to do my slut walk or whatever." Now she's softening You know what I mean? Now she's softening it but without any real evidence, without saying anything. She didn't really say anything. She just said a bunch of reasons why it was okay. But why get into that fight, Amber Rose? It's a Faustian bargain. Don't try and fight the world and say it was okay or not okay and prove to the world why it was okay what you did. Let them judge you. That's insane. It's a trap. Don't do that.
Amazing. And you say, James?
Dang.
That's fair though. That's his
Yeah,
That's fair.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm right.
That's right.
It's kind of nice hearing her side of the story. I don't know if she's telling the whole story. Obviously, you can't tell the whole story, but it is interesting. It's just like what you said before. She's feeling judged, and so she's judging back, and it's just hell for her. And so she just turned into, if you can't beat them or if you can't escape it, you pretend to be proud of it. And like she said, we're all expected to act like we love it, and that's what women do, and that's what fake people, like everybody, does is, I guess, pretend.
What do you think about what Nick said?
He's right. I don't know who was saying we need to put her in charge. I don't know where he was getting that.
In that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the guy said 2028.
Amber Rose, Nick Fuentes, 2028. Yes.
In that.
Nick Vice President.
Yeah.
You know why I even said that? Because
I
it's
think
like
Nick would be a good president.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I'm not just saying that. I totally believe that.
I don't know
One
anything
of
about
what to
him.
do.
I don't know anything about
is
him.
one of the, not this Nick, but the real Nick.
Sorry, this Nick.
Cozy.tv/Nick.
Nick Fuentes is one of the smartest men I ever met for his age.
I know nothing about him. Maybe I need to look into him.
Really, he gotta stop being mad if he is mad. But he's one of the smartest people. But anyway, let's not go to Nick.
Yeah.
Okay. But what do you think about what our Nick said? The anchor baby Nick.
He is right that you need to not care or be concerned by the world and its judgment against you.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened to her.
Yeah.
She was affected by the judgment of the world when she got famous. So I agree with that.
So what did you think about what she said?
This is my
Joel.
favorite clip. That was my favorite clip because to me, I do understand what Nick is saying. First off, is that
What is he saying?
he's saying that like, from a logical perspective, you don't want to be affected by what people say and if they're judging you, and you want to know yourself and stand firm in your beliefs and forget everybody else. So I do understand that you don't want it to sway you. But what I love about this clip is that to me it brings understanding to why she's the way that she is. And she just lost like the rest of the world is. And she's just a child growing up, and she's around strippers and drug dealers or whatever, and her mom has mental health or whatever. And she's just she's looking for answers. And then the answers that she get is to be a stripper. She's influenced, right, as a young kid. But then she grows up and she is being judged for being this. Now she's suffering the consequences, right?
Right.
But instead of people trying to understand why she got into this, she's feeling the pain of their judgment. And instead of them trying to help her overcome, they just judge her. And what she's saying is that I lost my train of thought.
You're all holy, that's why.
No.
This is what I mean. I don't want to interrupt you, but this is what I mean.
I was about to make a good point, but go ahead, Nick, if you have
This is
a...
what I mean. Are you sure?
Yeah, go
Some
ahead.
silence. Will silence help?
Yeah, about her.
Yeah, let me
She
finish my point.
she didn't want to be that way, but that's her environment that she knew, and she couldn't see, and she.
I don't know, but I'll make this point, is that for her, she grew up in this way, and she's looking for these answers, and she's looking for understanding, but she's not getting it. She's getting judgment for one. But that's what happens, is that people don't know how to. That's what I was gonna say. People don't know how to overcome. So when they don't know how to overcome, they accept it as this is who I am, right?
Right.
They accept this lifestyle as part of who they are. They think it's them because no one's telling them that it's not them, that they're just identifying. So they embrace it and accept it and identify themselves. Well, I guess I'm just one of the bad ones who came out as a stripper, and I'm just evil, not knowing that that's not who they really are.
Right.
And then on top of that, they reject these people. They reject the world. They reject Christians, and they become this outcast. And now they are at the slut walk, naked, embracing that this is just who I am, and you guys are judging me, but oh well. But they know deep down that they don't want to be this way, but they don't know how to change.
Amazing. And you want to say, Nick?
James sensed correctly why the heck did he say give up control to, who's talking about giving up control to Ambrose? This is what I'm talking about. It's not even wrong, a lot of what you said, but the one part you said, Joel, you said, because and then it's because there's people judging her, and this is what happens with the woman. She'll say something nice, and it's true. You lay your guard down, and now you're agreeing with her that it's someone else's fault why she started judging the world and all that. You didn't even notice it.
No,
How is
but
it?
not.
No,
I get what you're saying too.
it was because she was being judged.
I get
why
what
she-
you're saying,
No,
Nick.
she became evil too, like the rest of the world.
But I get what you're saying, Nick. But what your stance is coming from a lack of understanding, or that it's gonna happen where people are gonna care about what people think. It's gonna happen to where you're gonna get caught up in your feelings and emotion at times. That's gonna happen, and you're speaking. What you're saying is true, but it doesn't show grace for those like a person like Amber or like
Don't
Favor over a person like Amber who
Who agrees? No, man. You're allowed to show grace.
who was raised this way and has this mindset, and it's not an excuse, and of course you shouldn't, but people do get caught up in their feelings and all that stuff. So
How do you know I'm not showing grace?
right, but you gotta have a little bit of grace.
How do you know I'm not showing grace?
Because what you're saying is you're just coming from a
The
stance.
grace is sufficient for me.
What would
You're
what
coming
is
from-
it that what would I have to say for me to show grace?
He's
Well, what
basically
you're
Matt
saying-
Walsh right now.
Yeah.
You're being Matt Walsh.
Well,
I'll
yeah.
prove it to you. I'll prove it to you.
what
But I
you're
want to hear
saying-
why you
what
why
you're
you know
saying
that I
is-
don't have
is-
grace.
What you're saying is not wrong, but what you're saying is that, like, in a perfect world, she should just reject what people say and not care about people's feelings, and she should be an individual, and
No,
she
I
should
didn't
do the
say
right
that.
thing. And yes, that's true, but also,
I didn't
us
say
as
any of
human
that.
beings fall, make mistakes, believe into the wrong things, get influenced, care about what people think. So there should be a little bit space there to understand what she's dealing with.
How do you know I don't have that space?
Because
Ooh.
you came so
Fight,
hard.
fight.
Punchy.
Punchy TV.
Punch.
Yeah, how do you know I don't have the
Fine.
grace and I didn't leave
Because
the space?
it's not
Jump
coming off.
over the
it's,
console right now.
it's not coming off as that.
Huh?
It's not coming off as that. It's coming off as this hard stance. Like, there's a woman. She's just there she is. She's just a child. She
I
just
say anything wrong?
evil. You said,
Where
but
did I say
that's
that
how
was
it's
wrong?
coming off. I said you weren't wrong.
So
But I said
then
that
what
you're not
was not
showing no
graceful?
grace.
What did I say that was not graceful?
coming off?
I just said the whole thing. What you said.
Well, pick one.
I just said my whole thing was about not showing grace. Is
Here,
that-
I'll put it like this. I'll give you the answer. Here's why I know that I'm showing grace and why I know that you don't
Okay,
know
fair
if
enough.
I'm showing grace.
Okay, fair.
Because I'm not.
Not
because
Matt
I'm
Walsh.
not. Because I'm not judging her for that.
Wait, what? I'm
not
trying to
judging her
hear.
for
I'm
that.
trying to hear Jesse say stuff, and then I can't hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's why I know. Here's why I know you don't know if.
Okay,
There's
fair.
no way. Here's why I know you don't know if I have grace,
Okay.
and why I do in this conversation because I'm not judging her, and I know
Thank
that.
you.
I know my heart in this moment. I'm
But that
just
doesn't- that doesn't
simply
make it-
not judging her.
But that doesn't make it not true.
I'm just pointing out how it's very easy to be like, hey, you hate blaming Victor. You don't do that. But hey, a nice lady might say it. You get hypnotized.
A beautiful-
She's blaming the world. She was blaming someone else for her hate. Straight up, Joel, was she blaming someone else for her hate or no?
Yes, and I agree. That's why I said what you're saying is
I rest
true.
my case.
But the thing is, but you're also
Now.
missing the fact that there's a lot of other elements that go into
I
her
accept all of them.
mindset.
That's why I don't judge her.
Right, but just because you say you don't judge her and you don't feel anything about
Just
it,
because you
doesn't
say
mean
I
that
am
you're
judging
not.
her, what does it mean? How do you know?
No, I'm just saying you didn't show enough grace.
I've showed her Amber Rose. I'm showing you 1,000,000% grace. I wish you could see my heart right now. It's full of
There's
grace.
only 100%. It doesn't go to 1,000,000.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
When
No,
they
for
say
real.
million, that
I'm
mean they
literally not
lying.
judging her. I'm literally not
But
judging
it
her.
doesn't
million.
make your comments. It doesn't make what you're saying not like. I'm sure Matt Walsh is saying the same thing. I don't feel like I'm not judging in my heart. My heart is. I don't have any.
But
anger
what did
or
I say? It
anything.
wasn't even mean. All I said was it wasn't mean.
It's
It
not that
wasn't
it's-
mean. It wasn't Matt Walsh. It wasn't anything. All I
It's just
said
a
was
lack
what?
of
All I said
understanding.
was what? She was blaming someone else for her hate, and that's just
What you
that's
should
wrong.
have acknowledged was she looked so beautiful and innocent in her sob story.
No.
It's a sob story. Yeah, that's what it was.
Right there, like, it's not a sob story.
was a
That's
sob
lie.
story.
It's not a sob story. It's like there's a reason. There's a reason why people are the
How
way
would it
that they
be?
are, and you have to have under. You don't.
But
think
that's
that,
not even the reason why she was. Sorry,
No,
I'll
but
calm down.
but
Ooh, no grace.
I'm all excited. I just realized. I'm all thrilled up.
You have no grace.
Lord, yeah. With all that
I know.
grace I was just talking about.
But I want to see her forehead tattoo. I don't like that she wore that
You mean I
hat.
don't like the hat thing.
Yeah,
And then
Oh,
I
that
want
was
to see
cute.
her eyes so I can see her sincerity.
right.
but anyway,
What is grace? You always mention grace.
because grace is in the Bible, but it's like
Well, what is it?
it's like how would you explain it?
You should know you always say it.
Because I know what I mean when I'm saying it, but it's just like
And what do
mercy.
you mean?
It's just like mercy.
Get him that. What do you mean?
It's just like mercy.
Is that fat
It's
woman
like
you dated?
favor. No, it's like what God has for all of us. What God has
Oh.
for you. What God has for me.
Mercy.
And because He understands.
It's what Nick, the American anchor baby, lacks.
doesn't have.
No mercy,
I'm not
Nick.
saying He doesn't have it.
I
I'm
may
just
be-
saying that.
Maybe
That's what it
mercy
comes off
related
as.
to
I
grace?
feel like I'm correct, but
It
you
is.
might be
Yeah.
right. But go on.
They are related.
It's like
They are.
It's like,
Grace and mercy
I'll give a perfect example.
Really?
I'll give a perfect
In what
example.
way?
by the
perfect
same
example.
father.
Oh.
Perfect example is that God knows that our hearts are wicked and that we do wicked things and blah blah blah, right? But because He knows our hearts and knows our intentions and knows that we mean well, even though we say and do crazy things, He doesn't spite us or punish us or do those things because He knows our heart, and that's because He has grace for us. Because if He didn't have grace, we'd all be straight in the pit of hell for the way we behave and do things. So it's just a little bit of lack of understanding when.
For the
don't
record,
show no
everything you
grace.
just described, I have for Amber Rose.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
The fight
Are
is
you going to
over.
vote for her and Nick?
Heck no. What the?
Oh. What do you think about it? Yes.
No. I was saying that I thought it was you, but it's. I guess.
What do you think about the last thing she said?
I think I already responded. Didn't I already respond? Wasn't I the
Yeah.
second
When
one
you
to
were laughing
respond?
at them.
I mean, I kind of responded
Oh.
to Nick because Nick and I both
Oh, okay.
were
Oh,
like
yeah, that's
questioning how
right.
deep it was.
Yeah.
Although it did, it was a little bit of a tear jerker. Not that it jerked any. I've never cried
Beta.
That's true.
ever.
I wanted to cry.
Ever.
I felt it in my
But-
chest.
What a beta. All that grease.
It was all
Yeah.
right here.
But it
And I
was,
seen the
remember
video
crying.
like 6 times.
In school.
so
What
it
a
was.
beta.
It wasn't like a nice emotional backstory type of a thing. I did wonder because she's mentioned her father. So where was her father at this time when
Right.
she and her mother were poor? I forget. Maybe she told you on the Fallen State.
She may have, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
I don't
So I
remember.
just wondered about that.
Yeah. What were you about to say?
No, I was saying that it was you. What you done.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, a drag queen called my radio show, JesseLeePeterson.com, and he was saying that his father was a drag queen, something like that, and that he now understand how he became that way because he became like his mother. That he had a spirit, but he didn't know that. I thought that was an amazing call. But I also counsel with these nudie bar women. What do you call them? What was
Strippers?
strippers and stuff like that. And everyone I've talked to did not want to be that way. They love the money after a while, buku money, but they had to make a living. And they found that making a living doing that, because men were lusting after them, then they make buku money. And once they get into making the money, it's hard not to make the money.
Right.
So now they have a living that they got to take care of. But they not want to be that way. They just didn't want to. And they didn't know how to get out of it until they started working on themselves, how to overcome it, because they felt. And then the people started judging them as that too. Their family members call them sluts and strippers and blah, 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 right? And so they felt ashamed of that. And they didn't know feeling ashamed made them get deeper into it, because they didn't know how to handle the name call. And when she said all that, I totally understand where she's coming from. And in a fallen state, you don't know how to deal with criticism.
Right.
You really just don't know how to deal with criticism, because you don't know that. You just don't know how to deal with it. So you just get deeper into it. And it sounds like, now I don't know where she is in life right now, but it sounds like that's what she was going through.
Yeah.
It's not like one day she decided, let me just be a stripper. Her upbringing, her situations drove her to that kind of stuff. Did she get that, Nick?
Did I get that from
Nigga ain't
her?
get that.
You don't know that. I got that. Yeah, I got that.
He
Because
tuned, tuned out.
and we don't understand our situations. Our situation drives us into doing one thing after another one.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're trying to fix the situation, but instead we get worse with it.
Indeed. That's a fact.
And that's a perfect thing. That what you just said was what I was trying to say, but I lost my train of thought. That was perfect. Is that you get caught up in these things and you can't help it,
Yeah.
and you don't know which way to go.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, people are calling you slut. So now you start to think like, maybe something's wrong with me, so I'm just gonna embrace it. But deep down, they really don't want to embrace it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a slut. They call me slut, so I might as well be a
Be a
good slut.
and I might as well own it and
But then
brag
you're
about
miserable being a good
Exactly.
slut.
And
You're still not happy.
Yeah.
You're not at peace. Amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
I got Emerald. I got to interview you again. I have some whole bunch of different questions. I hope she come on.
She might really come on now because she's conservative now. She's about to be president in 2020.
I hope she stay. I hope she make it. That's right, Nick.
But
And Nick Fontaine, I believe, could be a good president. I really do. He need to grow some stuff and become a congressman. Grow into it. But I think he'll be good. You said something that I wrote a note before
What?
we end this.
What was it?
What?
What did I say?
Why are you nervous?
No, I'm not. I was just looking at the time for.
Oh, okay. I'll make
Yeah.
it short. Quick question. You said that as a result of doing that, she suffered the consequences, right? We suffer the consequences of what we do. Maybe you said something like that.
Maybe I did, but
We suffer the consequences. So she's been, as a result of what she did, she been called slut and stripper and all that. And you said, well, because she did it, she suffered the consequences, or we suffered the consequences. You remember saying something like that?
no, but I'm sure I did. It
Right.
sounded like I would say it.
And so my question, do we suffer the consequences of what we do?
I do think that there's consequences to our actions, even though we mean well. And I think that, I think that there's a natural consequence to whatever we do. So whether it be drinking alcohol, smoking weed, there's a consequence that's going to happen to it. But we're protected by grace.
Who? There you go with grace.
GRACE.
Oh, why you had to spell it?
That helps
But it's God's
differentiate it.
grace. because God's grace is why we're able to get past it and move on and not.
So
Care
you're
about
saying, yes, we do suffer the consequences of what we do?
I think there are consequences to our actions. Yeah,
And so you're saying, yes, we do suffer the consequences of what
Yeah.
we do?
yeah,
We do.
I think so.
Who you say about that, Nick?
it seems like it.
That we do suffer the consequences?
Yeah, it
Or
seems
what
like it. Yeah.
Why it seem that way?
Because if I do something, if I pay for it in positive ways, negative ways, it's just what it seems like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
When you
can't think
say
of it
that,
any other
do
way.
we suffer the consequences? So what, Nick?
I can't think of it any other way right now.
Do we suffer the consequences of what we do?
Sometimes we do, yeah. Sometimes I think we do. But I think more we suffer in our minds, and we kind of bring on suffering in response to what we do. You know, because we're like, you stay up too late. Oh man, tomorrow's gonna be rough. You psych yourself into it being rough, or the judgment is the suffering or brings it on.
Amazing. I gotta ask this tomorrow morning on my radio show.
There you go.
Do we suffer the consequences of what we
Nice.
do? Now you guys are thinking, I wonder what he's thinking about.
Did you want to talk about it here, but you guys are worried about my show or something? Talk it out.
What?
Did you want to talk about it here, but
No,
you're worried about my
I didn't
show?
want to throw it out there. We got to end this.
Nice.
How do we end this? Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Hit the button over here. Subscribe over there. Ring the bell over
I'm not doing all that editing with all this. That's not gonna pop up over there. It's not gonna pop up.
Ain't nothing popping up. And the people like, where? Just hit the button. Y'all know what to do. Bye.
But you didn't say to Punchie TV, but I'll put that up. Punchy TV.
I ain't know I was supposed to say that.
You have to subscribe to Punchy TV.
Oh.
But that's fine.
But they know they're looking at Punchie
I
TV.
know, that's fine. That's fine.
We'll put that in. Put that in the edit. That part, that little conversation.
Yeah, put that in there. And now they know.
All right, that's good. That's good.